My name is Pradeep. I am from Sufalam Technologies, and today we will learn what are the best practices for security purposes in React application. Here are the list of the things which we have to consider when we are developing React application. So we will check one by one. The first one will be access protection. So access will be one thing that will directly run third parties script in your React application. So by default, React will provide you data binding to how to avoid access protection in React application. So here are the examples that why we have to choose data binding rather than using any static code, or we have to perform any HTML pages. So these are the things we have to consider on React application while developing. Another will be dangerous URL. So these are the case when we have to directly use HTML pages or any third-party links to display the content in React application. For example, we have to display YouTube links in our React application directly. So we have to check for the URL rather than directly using as a inner HTML tag. So it's the best practice to avoid direct URL. So if we have any predefined format for the URL, we can use ID of particular things rather than using the whole URL. So it will be help to avoid any malicious code in the React application. So another one will be rendering HTML. So sometimes we have to use HTML pages from any other websites or any predefined HTML codes. So we have to use purify sanitize to avoid normal HTML. So it will help to block any third-party code or any tracker in the HTML. Another will be direct DOM access. So sometimes we are directly using DOM element to display HTML pages. So at the same thing, we have to sanitize the data rather than using directly in the HTML pages. So in that case, we can create an reference and directly assign to. So don't do that kind of things. We have to first sanitize the HTML code, then we can display the HTML in the current web pages. Okay. So next one will be server-side rendering. So in server-side rendering, we have the two methods: render to string and render to static markup. So rather than using those kind of string, we have to predefine element, or don't have to concat the data in existing strings or existing data. So this is the thing we have to consider when we are developing server-side application. Another thing will be detecting vulnerabilities in dependencies. So sometimes we are using third-party packages for React application. So while using npms or any libraries, we first have to check that if the project or the npm developed on the Node Package Manager website must be maintained by their founder, or we have to check that the npm is currently maintained by the team or not. So if you are using any third-party APIs for your React application, please confirm that the popularity, quality, and maintenance will be provided by them. Okay. Another will be injecting JSON state. So sometimes it's common that we are using JSON from string element, and we are converting those data into and JSON objects. So while using that, we have to avoid DOM element directly, so it will not affect any injection attack on the web application. So we have to use JSON stringify method to avoid this issue. Another one will be detecting vulnerables version of React. So many times we have to check that the current version will be deprecated, or maintenance will be not provided to that version. So in that case, you can use sync SNYK test for the check how to overcome this issue. So it will directly checking which npms are uploaded latestly. So using the latest version of React npms are appreciated. Another thing will be configuring security linters. These are the normal linters which I have listed is Lint, JSLint, and Husky, that will provide you the syntax suggestion while coding. So it will help to avoid syntax mistake, as well as it will help some suggestion to improve your code, and also improve deprecated methods of the npms or any React project. Another thing will be have to consider while developing a React application is broken authentication. So sometimes it's the case that we have multiple accounts on the session, and we are directly using single token to authentication. Rather than storing in local storage, we have to store in maybe session, or we have to enable multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication for authorization or authentication. So it will prevent attacks on the application. Next will be security with JWT. So basically JWT JSON token that's used to authentication between client and server. So whenever you are using JWT, please consider that it will be stored in proper place rather than using local storage. And without any authentication, it will be hard to track the data. Okay, next will be implementing a web application firewall. This is one type of tool that will help you to detect and block the malicious content by monitoring and filtering requested. So we have to use WAF for SQL injection, XSS attacks, or any third-party code that we will use, or any third-party APIs. Okay, I'm done from my side. Yeah, thank you.